Well, well, they say it's a first for everything. How you doing, Doctor? Doctor
I'm doing great.
Adrian? Doctor Adrian Adams.
That's me. Same last name.
I know,
Hey, everybody,
man.
I'm
It's
Dr.
greatness.
Adrian Adams. Uh, I'm the CEO of Antigen Botanical CBD, hemp CBD brand here in New York. Tonight was the last day for the conditional retail licenses for social equity / justice involved folks. We have until 11:59 p.m. to apply, and I'm part of a team that probably isn't done yet.
Okay. You know what? Hold on, Doc. I made a great mistake. Can we, I
What's that?
need to I need to call a quick timeout. It's Monday Night Football night, right?
Yes, it
I
is.
need to call a quick timeout. Let me introduce somebody real quick, all right? Everybody notice that I've been in a different angle. I'm not normally doing an interview like this, but I want to give somebody a great introduction. All right, let me 1 second. 1 second. Excuse me, Angela. I want to introduce you to the people. Okay. All right. This is amazing because I'm over here at the Elevations Lounge, right? And over here at the Clarendon Hotel, they also have this really dope spa where you can get massages, you can get wax, all of that stuff. And I want to introduce you to a young lady, Angela. Angela is with Lazy Bee Spa, and today, this episode, I'm going to be getting a really great massage while interviewing you. And I want to encourage everybody in the valley or who traveling to the valley to come out and get a massage from Angela over here at the Lazy Bee Spot. This is an amazing experience, man. I got a brief stint with it last week, and now I'm here to get the full experience. And I'm 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 encouraging you. Next time you're out here in the valley, I want you to come and do a massage as well.
I would love to. I'd love to be there right now.
Oh yeah, man. You should come on out. You should come on out. Angela, you got some stuff you want to say to the people? Let's see. We're here 7 days a week. We open at 8 and we're usually done by about 9. When you come to the spa, you have full access to the pool and the hot tub and the gym. Um, we're able to take on new clients and we love our valley visitors. That's crazy. What more could you ask for, man? You know what I mean? Like, this is beautiful. This is a beautiful moment right here. This is a beautiful moment for cannabis. This is a beautiful moment for Lazy Bee Spa and Angela. This is a beautiful moment that we're about to share when we're spreading the word about the social equity and everything that's going on in New York. You ready?
Let's do it.
Shout out to Shango. I'm smoking on some frosted donuts. It has quickly become one of my favorite strains on the market. So, Adrian,
Yes.
tell me, how'd you get or why did you get into cannabis?
I got into cannabis because it really helped one of my daughter. Um, she has a few conditions actually that lend themselves to be treated by cannabis very well. And there
Okay.
really wasn't a good source of, in particular, CBD that was available. So a lot of garbage. So I decided I'll make it.
Nice. Almost. CBD, which I actually use and I thoroughly believe in. Um, I believe in the healing properties of CBD. I have gout flare ups from time to time when I party a little too much. and go out and have lots of tequila with my friends, you know?
That'll
So,
do it.
yeah, man. So I end up using CBD to help with inflammation. I know a lot of people who use CBD to help out with anxiety. You know, what all ailments have you been helping patients and people with in New York?
There's been a lot of different things actually, because primarily my brand Antigen Botanicals CBD services physicians. So I sell B2B to physicians, neurologists, psychiatrists, primary care, and they use it to treat a whole variety of things.
All
Sciatica, with the bomb, anxiety, PTSD is a big one, and inflammation, of
PTSD.
course. Very
Is
good.
that dealing with a lot of what are your normal cases when talking to patients or businesses about PTSD? Because I know there's a stigma that a lot of people just like instantly think that it's just veterans and people who've like been to war and everything, but there's other groups of folks who've never been in any military branch who also suffer from PTSD and everything. Can
Yes,
you talk
absolutely.
about that?
Yeah, there's actual research out there that basically the black experience in America lends itself to PTSD. Anybody who's grown up in a project basically qualifies as having PTSD,
Really?
is what they found during the research, because it's just so many things you're exposed to at such a young age that it's intense. It's equivalent to a battlefield scenario for some people.
That's crazy. And I
Yeah,
mean,
and
I
then
know, like, I've never dealt with the inner city, like New York inner city or anything like that, but I've seen like inner city and like um, under under resourced environments and the effects that it causes on not only on people's mental psyche, but their dietary and everything like that.
yeah,
Like,
I mean,
cause
it's not
when
limited to
you're
the
not
cities.
making, you say what?
It's not limited to the cities. I mean, you pick a minority community, and generally speaking,
Well, yeah,
you're
that's why I ended up trying to
yeah.
switch it to under resourced areas.
Yeah, exactly. Well, if you look at many communities, and my brother-in-law actually used to, he did some work with this, traveling around New York City from neighborhood to neighborhood with a sort of farmers market. Because if you take any minority community, coast to coast, in the mountains, in the cities, you're going to find food deserts and just underserved food supplies. You're going to see a lot of fast food. There's always going to be Chinese food, McDonald's, KFC, Burger King.
Yeah,
But, to find a good produce section in the supermarket, it's very difficult most of the time.
that's crazy, man. And it almost seemed like it was planned.
There's a lot of research in that department too. And you'll find that basically the big problem is that you have minority communities that are the businesses are owned by outside companies, and
Uh huh.
people who don't live in the community. So what happens is all those dollars to the minority communities get extracted and taken to the suburbs and more affluent areas. Whereas if you go to those affluent areas,
So,
their money goes to the local hardware store, the local pharmacy, the local everything, and the money recycles within the community. And that's what you don't get in the minority communities, generally speaking. The money just gets extracted.
right, because that money is not getting spent, and but also that could be a hypothetical because just because somebody lives in that area, that doesn't mean that they're going to be still patronizing all the businesses in that area. When
That's
it
true,
comes to them making money, like some people
especially
still don't
especially in the
like the
days of
options.
Amazon. Amazon's killed a lot of local businesses.
Yeah,
It's sent
Amazon is
people's
shutting a
people's
lot
money
of
is
people out.
sending Jeff Bezos to space. But I want to get
Amazon is
back to
shutting a lot of people up.
exactly. I want to get back to New York because we have another good development in New York. Is home this past week they approved home grow starting October 5th. You do
Wait, you
have to
say
be
what? Homegrown in New
home
York is
grow
approved?
in New York is approved for
For how much?
medical marijuana card holders or their caregivers.
Oh, wow.
But they're allowed to have for each patient of the caregiver or patient, they can have 3 mature plants and 3 immature plants.
Okay.
So a caregiver
So
can have
they
up to
not,
4 people.
I was about to say, they're not allowing people to grow crazy out there.
Oh no. That could be a lot of weed though. You know,
It could.
it
It
could.
could. Depending on the strain, the yield could be insane.
It's pounds.
Wow.
So
Congrats
so
to New York for changing their stances on weed, man.
yeah, that's what I've been spending a lot of my time doing. With I'm the New York State Director of Minorities for Medical Marijuana, and I'm on, as you know, the National Cannabis Industry Association Diversity,
Yes.
Equity, and Inclusion Committee. And we've been doing a lot of work with other advocacy groups like Normal and the People's Ecosystem and MCBA and
How did you get
ML.
involved in the NCIA?
That's a good question. Probably through Minorities for Medical Marijuana and doing some work, where we cross linked at some point. Because what we've been doing is responding to the regulations as they come out. Because everybody, I'm sure nationwide, has heard about the legalization, marijuana regulation and taxation act that passed in April of 21, but there were
Mm-hmm.
no rules with it. There was no way, there were no regulations in terms of, okay, it's legal. How do we do it? And so that's what's still being developed right now and coming out in dribs and drabs. And with all these different organizations, I kind of created a roundtable from their leadership to respond to the regulations. Like, okay, that was a great idea, except boom, 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 boom. Just to giving some improvements. We're trying.
Yeah. So, what is your goal? Do you plan on bringing out cannabis products once everything is rolled out?
Yeah. But the goal is to really use Antigen Botanicals CBD, which is a hemp brand. Right now, we're actually doing a full blown relaunch next week. It's really to develop it into, in part, something that my daughter can run and use to sustain herself and have a business and feel good about herself. And we'll add the THC products as we can. But really, right now, I'm part of a team that's going to work on opening dispensaries and using some of the funds to help with educational programs. My particular doctorate's in educational leadership. So what I want to try and do throughout New York and eventually the nation is take really good children's education programs
Uh huh.
and amplify them. Open up another after school center or whatever it may be to grow them and really help in the minority communities that are underserved right now.
That's beautiful.
That's the goal.
Um, so, when did you start to add philanthropists onto your resume?
Uh, when I just started to see the area where I lived there was no voice. There's no voice to people who wanted these things to pass, and it didn't look like they would for a long time. So I just wanted to give a voice to people and also connect all this, supposed social equity and everything like that. I wanted to try and make sure it made it to the street
Yeah.
because whenever anything like this has ever happened historically, the money never makes it down to South Conduit Ave in Brooklyn. You know what I mean? Nobody down there saw any benefit from it. So I was like, you know what? Let me try and make sure that these regulations on paper, the government actually help people on the street.
Right.
That's been my hope, my goal, and so far doing all right.
So, what kind of team do you got with you,
It's
or
a
do you
it's
have a team?
Yeah, it's a big smattering of people from all over the place, in all different sectors. Um, you know, we're trying to establish ourselves here in New York, and it's kind of fledgling because, like I said, I mean the rules aren't totally in place. It's hard to play a game when the rules aren't even done yet. So we're working on that. The latest thing that I'm excited about though is I've been cannabis business brokering because I'm trying to help companies that are successful grow and come out and move, particularly from the West Coast area, like out where you are, towards the
Okay.
East Coast. But do it in a way that for the people on the East Coast, the social equity license holders and things like that,
Hmm.
don't get predatory lending and purchasing of their licenses and things.
Right.
I'm trying to make sure
Make
that
sure it's
people don't
fair
get
for
screwed.
everybody that's getting involved in these cannabis.
You know what?
Um,
There's
yeah.
enough money in this industry for everybody if as long as nobody's a pig. That's always been I've said that a
Yeah.
million times, there really is enough room for everybody. So I'm trying to do that and protect them as they come because, literally today I heard on a phone call about a deal where these cannabis license holders got funded in New Jersey at a rate of 30%. That's like a credit card.
Wow.
That's an insane. I mean, imagine the cost, the debt burden on a couple $1 million. It's insanity. That's predatory lending. That's the kind of thing that, if sooner or later, social equity people with licenses, they're going to want to sell. They're going to want to cash out at some point. But
Yeah. But
somebody
without
needs
you
to
doing
help them.
loans like that, like that's
You know what? There's all kinds. There's convertible notes. There's debt equity. There's straight equity. There's a lot of different ways of interacting with financing that if you don't know what the fine print says and you don't have a good attorney, you're in trouble. So I try to make sure people have both.
is that something that you'd suggest be one of the first steps when somebody's trying to get in the cannabis industry is to find a good cannabis attorney?
Uh, well, the first step you want to try to save up for is a good attorney that can help you set up the right kind of business because there's different business structures. You can be an LLC, which is different than a regular corporation, a C corp or an S corp. So you have to have an
Hmm.
attorney that's going to match the right type of company for you, because that's a way that people don't realize they can have a typical business owners or typical white business owners tend to be able to take advantage of tax advantages that we in the minority community often don't know about. So like things like, a portion of your home could be a home office. If you have a corporate entity, a company, you can actually write off a portion of all your bills that you spend on
And
your
that's
home.
nationwide, yeah. Let
Yeah,
the people know that's nationwide.
yeah. You can actually use a portion
About
of your bills.
how much time do you have to work out of home for that to actually qualify though?
There's no time limit. You just need to have an office that you're allowed to have a certain percentage of square footage. I don't remember what it is, but and that same percentage that you use for your home office is the percentage of your bills that you can write off because that company is using some of your expenses, some of your things like heat and things like that.
Hmm.
Um, you can write off some of your vehicle. There's a lot of things that you wouldn't realize you can do to offset some of what you already spend. A corporation can lose money. I think it's 3 out of 5 years. So if the company loses money, that's money you can write off on your taxes potentially. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
another thing you're going to need after the attorney is an accountant. And there are different ways you can do that. And now that's where getting involved in advocacy organizations really helps. So, like your minorities for medical marijuana, if you go to minorities, the number 4, and then medicalmarijuana.org,
Uh-huh.
you can sign up for the newsletter, and you can interact and contact them about finding, things like an attorney, things that we have a great attorney that's part of the leadership team there. Good accountants, things like that will steer you in the right direction. Because a lot of times not knowing who to go to is what holds us back. And
Right.
you have to go out and connect, join National Cannabis Industry Association, NCIA, or even just not even needing to join, just email them and ask them, how do I find an accountant? How do I find an attorney for cannabis? But actually, that leads me to the most important recommendation that I have for everybody who asks me about getting into the game.
Uh-huh.
And this happens a lot in New York. And I say to them that, the big opportunities aren't necessarily in touching the plant. Look at delivery, retail management. There's a lot of
Oh,
other ways.
ancillary businesses.
Ancillary businesses, security. There's a lot of um, other things you can do, whether it's the
Oh yeah,
hardware.
there's gonna be plenty ways to make money in the industry, but people gonna definitely still want to have their own dispos. I mean, it's a
Yeah,
dream,
but if you
for
look
some.
at here's the thing. If you look at the economics of a dispensary, and there's a
Mhm.
paper that I think just came out through NCIA. I think Christine De La Rosa wrote it. The economics of a dispensary aren't great, as
Yeah, you gotta have a
particularly with 280E.
really
It doesn't.
solid business plan and
Yeah, it's
a way to
difficult.
keep people in the dispo even without cannabis. Like you gotta
So
make it want to be a place that they want to go to, even if they don't. You know.
the best recommendation I got is the one I give out, and that is whatever it is you do or have done in your past, try to do that within cannabis. So if you've been a security guard in a store or whatever, well, cannabis security makes sense. You know that. The other
Yeah.
thing is, if you don't, they need plumbers to do the build outs in the grows. They need electricians. They need painters for the dispense. They need everything any other business needs. And if you can do that, do it within cannabis. Be a specialist within cannabis. And the other
Right.
thing is, if you're thinking about products and things like that, look at every single person you know, every relative, the friends of your relatives, and to look in terms of what might be a distribution network for you. What is your outlet? Because let's say you have an auntie with 2 hair salons. Well,
Yeah.
that tells you where to go. You may want some sort of facial product, some sort of face serum or lotion or shampoo or whatever it may be. That's your outlet. If you have a family member or family friend with a restaurant, well, then it makes sense maybe to do some sort of edible, a barbecue sauce, whatever it may be.
Right.
Think about,
That's
because
smart.
the last thing
Reach
you
out
want
to
to
your
do.
inner network.
Absolutely. That'll guide you into what to do, because the last thing you want to do is how I started. I had all these
I
great
was just
ideas.
about to ask if you
Yeah.
started like that. Did you reach out to your
I
inner network?
No, I made the mistake of really wanting great products. I think it was like 16 months really going around and doing my research in order to make really great products that would be good for patients, that doctors could trust. I would test them to high heaven, and they would be able to sell them to their patients. And I made too many products. You know what I mean? Like I came right out of the gate with like 10 different products,
Uh-huh.
and they're staring at you on the shelf as they're getting older and older, and you're freaking out. It's no good. You want to start very targeted. Pick something that you can actually distribute and get somebody to buy before you make it. And that's another point too. Before you even have products, start building your brand right away. It doesn't even matter if you have products. Come out and start going on social media and things like that, which I
Yeah,
really need to
start
start
doing
doing.
merch. Start
I am
building hype.
horrible. I'm horrible when it comes to social media marketing. I hate posting. I'm
Hey,
old.
I know somebody that you can outsource that too if you want to hire some, different
Oh yeah,
marketing
yeah, 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 yeah.
help.
You know what? I'll reach out to them when they're not getting a rub
You say
down.
what now?
I said I'll reach out to that person when they're not getting a rub down.
You're
But
right. You're right.
that's
This
very,
is an
very
amazing
important.
massage.
I bet.
This is an incredible opportunity that was presented last minute, and I was like, I obviously want to highlight the amazing spa and the people over here at the Clarendon Hotel and the Lazy Bee Spa. They offered the massage, and they want me to, go ahead and let y'all know that the staff is well trained. And even though it's a lot of weed smoke going on around here, that they are available for private events and available for you to come book an appointment.
There you go. And then when it comes to anybody who has an existing license in operation, who would like to work with a partner, maybe grow for somebody else. There are companies out there that will provide you with their seeds and genetics and, all the equipment you need and to process and the whole nine, as long as you do it with their stuff. And that could be a business arrangement. And if you had the space, home run. That's the thing. Try and find an indoor space to grow, and I'll find you a partner. Put it to you like that. You can reach out to me via email at Adrian Adrian at Ontogen N as in Nancy, T as in Tom, G as in George, E as in Edward, N as in Nancy .life.
I'm gonna need some residuals from that.
That's funny. Yes, you can reach
Put
out to
that
me
look. Let me
that
put that
way.
referral code at the bottom of the screen. Type in
Sure.
cannabis and coffee. Let them know you came from this podcast.
That's it. Cannabis and coffee. Yeah, yeah, we can
We'll
do
talk
that.
about the split later,
Like
Adrian.
I say, there's enough money in this for everybody.
Oh, I know.
That's
That's
simple.
why we got such beautiful people in that group. Like a lot of
That's true.
hold on. A lot of people don't realize, but the NCIA group is is a is a very dope community and very like-minded folks who just want to see each other win.
Yeah, it's a very, very supportive group. LaTosque and I belong to a diversity, equity, and inclusion, actually, a social equity team at NCIA. And like I said, the advocacy organizations, you can't beat joining them because
Here
that's
you
where you're
go.
going to find like-minded individuals who can help you and just who sometimes just, be somebody you could whine to. Some days you're just down and everybody else points out the good that you're not seeing, lifts
Yeah,
you up, elevates your game. And that's another big thing in cannabis, people. You may start off thinking that you want to do something in particular. You have to keep your head on a swivel for when opportunities come your way because things can change quick in this industry. In cannabis, a day is like a week is like a month is like a year. Things happen fast. I mean, that home grow thing that happened in New York, that came from a meeting on Thursday that was only announced on Tuesday before that, and home grow wasn't supposed to happen until after retail sales started, which won't be for at least another 6 months. And then boom,
so
within
about the
48
start of
hours.
2023.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. It's gonna be longer than people think. But because again, the rules aren't done. You can't play the game until the rules are set. That's just
That
where
is
we're
true.
at.
That is very
Everybody
true.
talks. Everybody talks very positive, and that's great. You know, it's going to happen. Great, but it's just going to take some time. A little more time than people think.
Oh, oh man, Adrian, I gotta
Yeah,
know. Let me start asking you some of these rapid response questions, man. Um, I
sure.
want I want to know the first things that come to your mind. Um, so, when you first started smoking cannabis, what was uh what was around the price of an eighth?
I have no idea. I'm 54 years old.
Because I've heard stories, man. I've talked when I used to talk to my great grandma. She used to tell me how you could get like a giant 1 gallon jar for like $75, and it was like gas back in the '70s.
I
But I also
honestly
don't
couldn't
know what
remember.
gas weed was.
Well, back then, you know, like that, there wasn't all this market that you have now. You know what I mean? They had like, you know, everything used to be called Acapulco Gold or Maui Wowie, which I'm sure 99.9% of it wasn't. But it was a simpler time, and there wasn't a lot of choice. There wasn't distribution networks of great amounts, and just wasn't the choice.
Huh. Hold up 1 second. I'm trying to switch the camera real quick. Oh, there we go. All right, y'all see the elbows in the back. All right, Adrian,
Yeah.
what do you want to see most in change in the industry in the next 5 years?
The next 5 years, I'd just like the industry to exist for the small minority owners because there's so much big money. I mean, hundreds of billions of dollars waiting to pour into cannabis from people who don't have the same love of the plant and need for the restitution that it can provide. And that could be a tidal wave that kills small companies like mine. And I'm hoping when these politicians pass some laws and things that they keep the small business owners in mind. That's what
Okay.
worries me the most.
What kind of are you into lobbying out there?
Yeah, 2 weeks ago we were down in Washington D.C. Meeting in with different congressmen and senators. In theory, you don't actually get to meet with them. You meet with their staffers, which was an eye-opening moment because that's when you realize that these senators, they get their information from kids who just graduated from college,
Yeah,
21-year-olds, and not to say there's not anything wrong with them, but they just don't know. They don't know cannabis. They don't know the economics. They don't know
yeah,
the communities. So how are they going to help? And that's where the information comes from that these policymakers are acting on. And it's a little scary. So it's good for lobby days. And I would suggest even next year you go and check it out because you can get in there and see what your local, statewide politicians really think. What are they really trying to do? What's their position on medical versus adult use, things like that.
yeah. That's insane, man. Um, you would think that. Well, I also understand why you would want to go with college users. They know the future of the market and what their peers are going to be buying and purchasing. But also, you would think that it would be a balance. I have seen that it for me it depends. The more well successful companies have that balance yoke. You know.
Well, it's not just a matter of age so much as that there's not many minority voices in those halls. So it's hard to expect that there would be provisions in these different regulations coming out that's going to protect small minority social equity brands and license holders out there when you're not represented in the offices. So,
Okay.
and it's nice too when you can, like, I met with a Southern Republican, their staff, and spoke to them, and I got the chance to just educate them a little bit, just make them look at a particular cannabis sort of insight that they didn't have before, that they can then bring that back to their boss, and let them know, hey, really, it's not like this, it's like that. The people I
Yeah.
was talking to thought Delta 8 was actually CBD, like they were one and the same.
Yeah.
And they wrote an FDA letter. The congressman wrote an FDA letter telling them, you need to regulate this stuff because Delta 8 is killing people. They said, no, no, no,
So
no, no.
how long are you thinking till we hear something about that from the courts?
Don't know. No idea. Everything's such a backdoor negotiation there. There's lobbyists for the lobbyists for the lobbyists. And, a lot of times it gets traded for something else. Okay. I'll give you a yes on CBD if you give me yes on this project that's going to happen in my district in Arkansas or something.
Yeah.
You have no idea. So all you can do is your best to just educate the people who are there.
Okay. Well, this has been a really great talk, man. I got a few more questions for you, and I'm gonna let you go.
All right.
Um,
Shoot.
you got anything that you've been wanting to ask me or um, talk about to get off your chest with the people in cannabis?
Yeah, I'd actually. I was thinking about this before we started. I'd like to know. You have your show here. What are you trying to do? What do you see for yourself in the next couple of years?
Well, next couple years, I have plans. Well, since we're coming up on 2023, I have plans to purchase the island before the end of 2025.
To
I'm
purchase
building,
a what?
purchase an island,
That's what I thought you said. Okay,
buying the
go ahead.
island, yes, sir, with the house on it, obviously, you know. And we're going to do that by the end of 2025. And I've seen, I've seen so many different islands for sale that are developed, and they are under 5 million. Like the cheapest island I've seen was around 180,000 bucks, and it had a home on it. Yeah, man, I'm telling you, we can do this, man. You want to get your island now?
More
I know
power
you
to you,
do.
brother.
Yeah, man.
How you gonna get that island?
I'm
Any
going to get that
plan yet?
island. So we build and speaking into existence into $1 billion brand. Under speaking into existence is the Cannabis and Coffee podcast and lifestyle brand. Then we got manifested this music basically is everything that I release my music on under is going to be under manifested this music. Everything can be found at these websites underneath. Let's scroll it right by our chins. Um, through that, I'm also helping people and brands with digital marketing. Now that I've been in the industry doing digital marketing for one of the largest dispensary brands in the nation. Um, I'm comfortable taking on more brands and helping other brands out, showing them how to market in this crazy, you know, um, crazy atmosphere that we are in with the digital marketing. Because there's so many limitations. There's so many limitations to like basically what this massage. I'm sorry. there's so many there's so many limitations to what you can and cannot advertise on these social media platforms.
Which is a whole nother problem. Yes, that's a. You can imagine for somebody who doesn't post, it's
Yeah.
kind of it's just kind of the same reason you get an accountant or an attorney. There's a lot of things you don't know that you really need to know. So sometimes you have to
Well, I
pay
mean,
somebody for it.
in due respect, there's limitations on all markets when they like if you're hiring, you can't make a discriminatory ad. If you're doing some kind of medical, you can't do, there's or housing, you can't, there's limitations on plenty of targeting when you're going and doing digital marketing stuff.
Well, I wish you the best of luck, my brother, with the music too.
Yes, sir.
It's another tough business.
Yeah, it is. The most important thing with music for me is so the next step is that scoring. I wanna do some scoring and get some production out. I got a big performance coming up on October 7th. I'm gonna be out at First Friday at the headquarters at Roosevelt Row on Second Avenue or Second Street in Roosevelt. So make sure y'all pop out for that if you're in the Valley, if you're in Phoenix, October 7th. Wow. Oh my God. No. You're fine. This is, whew, man. Y'all gotta come get one. All right, you ready for the rapid response questions?
All right, keep going.
Growing up, who were your role models?
Uh, I honestly didn't have any positive ones. I had a whole lot of negative ones. Fortunately,
Ah,
I was able to learn from each one.
that's beautiful. What do you value most in a friendship?
Uh, just telling the truth. I don't have time for BS. I don't have time for BS. I don't have time for BS people. I'm doing so many things I couldn't even remember it if I threw out some of my own BS, so I don't bother.
Yeah. What was the last book you read?
Last book that I read actually is right here. Highly recommended. It's
The
called The
Miracle
Miracle
Morning.
Morning.
What is
Uh,
that?
This is The Miracle Morning, the not so obvious secret guaranteed to transform your life before 8 a.m. by an
Hmm.
author called Hal Elrod. Now,
I
the
I need
before
to
8
get me a
a.m. part I
copy of
didn't do.
that.
I'm you know what I mean? I'm not a morning person, but
Yeah.
it actually gives you a couple of simple things to do that can really change your outlook and your day. And I know just to give you a little taste, one of the simplest things was just a little affirmation to yourself. And I was never a believer in this sort of thing, but a little affirmation to yourself before you go to bed, no matter what time it is. You tell yourself, when I wake up, I'm going to feel refreshed. I'm going to be ready to go. And I'm going to start on boom. And you just have one goal, one thing you want to do in the morning to get done. And it's just different, your intentions when you go to bed are actually important. Like think about how you go to bed on Christmas Eve. Have you ever woken up Christmas morning and thought to yourself, "Man, I'm tired." You know what I mean? It's like, yeah,
Yeah.
I might have that bicycle out under the tree, but I'm kind of tired. You never thought
People
that
don't
because
realize the power of the mental is the most important thing that you must maintain.
And that's kind of what it tells you about. When you go to bed with the intention of waking up and doing something, no matter what it is, even if it's just going for a walk with your dog, when you get it done, it's the start of a day. You already have an accomplishment right out of the gate. So
Oh wow.
it's called again. The author is Hal Elrod, and it's called The Miracle Morning, and it's short.
Uh huh.
It's not some big thick book that's going to take you forever that you might read a chapter or two and never finish. You can get through that.
Okay. All right. Let me know what talent would you most like to master?
What talent would I most like to master?
Yep.
It's a good question. I guess being able to really groom my daughter in terms of being able to
Okay.
sustain herself when I'm gone.
All right. What is your most treasured possession?
Most treasured possession. 8 hours of sleep. No, in all seriousness, it's my family and my children.
Yeah.
Without question.
8 hours of sleep is a great answer too.
I haven't had it in a long time, but I would treasure it.
I gotta know also, man. What motivates you to work? Because you do a lot. You know a lot of people. You work a lot and you get a lot done.
Motivates me is that I need to make it. I need to get where I want to be. I don't have a private island in mind, but I do have some things in mind that are goals that I want to get. And life is short. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I got time to sleep when I'm dead.
you're right. You fucking right, man. Uh man, honestly, Adrian, this has been an eye-opening fucking interview. We gotta chop it up some more off the camera because I got some, off the record questions that we gotta, I gotta talk to you about. I'm definitely gonna be making a trip up to New York pretty soon, man.
All right. So let me know.
What's your life motto?
My life motto. Never really pinned one down, but I guess I don't know. When it popped into my head right away, life is short, play hard.
Life is short, play hard. If you could change one thing about yourself, what would it be?
One thing about myself, to be better organized.
Alright.
That's one thing about my life and doing all the different things that I do and running my wife's business as well.
Yeah.
I am buried in paper.
So what's the best advice you've ever been given?
Best advice I've ever been given
What's up,
was
Corey?
definitely listen to your gut. A lot of people ignore their inner voice. That first inner voice that you have when you meet somebody, when you do something, when you're
You
someplace
gotta
for the
trust
first
it.
time, you gotta trust it.
You
And
gotta
and
trust
when
it.
somebody tells you and when
Intuition,
somebody
man.
tells you
People
who
don't
they are,
believe in
believe
that,
them.
man. Huh?
I said, and when people tell you who they are, believe them. Sometimes people that you might have high hopes can really help you or be really great or something like that. And they do
Yeah.
something in the beginning that you kind of overlook. Don't overlook it.
Don't overlook it. That's really fucking smart. Really great talk.
It's
Well,
easy
this
to do. It's easy to do because there's sometimes
it
people come with
is. We ignore
opportunities.
red flags all the time.
It's easy to ignore when it's big money, when it's enough, when it gives the appearance that it might be able to get you to buy your island. You can let a lot of things slide that you shouldn't let slide.
You know what? I feel you on that, and I've definitely been following my intuition a lot more. I it's that's why I'm here getting this massage, man. It's been some tension, man. I'm breaking free, man. I'm getting out of that old shell, and we
Self care,
usher.
self care, self care is
Yes,
important. That's
it
pretty much
is.
what the cannabis industry is about. Self care, attending to your endocannabinoid system and things that your body needs. Everybody has different reasons why they might be able to use cannabis aside from just the ailments and things, but everybody's body's different in the amount of cannabinoids they make because your body does make them, as well as the breakdown. That's a whole nother side, that's a whole nother show. Is that there's a whole process of breaking down cannabinoids. So it might not be that you don't make enough cannabinoids, but it might be that you break them down too quickly.
That's before we go. I got three more questions for you, and they fun questions. They're fun questions.
Okay.
All right. You get Magic Genie Bomb. You make three changes in the universe. What are those three changes you're wishing for?
3 changes in the universe. That's a tough one. I'd say that I would make a change such that we could stabilize the climate permanently and to somehow address the natural resource disparities that cause so many people to starve to death throughout the world.
Yeah.
And then I guess it would just be for people to just take it down a notch across the whole globe. Just chill out. Perhaps, just perhaps, incorporate cannabis into everybody's lifestyle so that everybody can get along a little better.
Yeah. So many people hungry and thirsty for this shit that they don't just let it happen naturally.
You're
Well, what's your
100%.
best advice you can give somebody before we hop off?
Best advice I can give somebody is that if you want to get into the cannabis industry, join some advocacy groups. Go to m4mmunited.org. Go to NCIA's website, which is the cannabisindustry.org, I believe. MCBA, the Minority Cannabis Business Association. There's a whole slew of them. There's groups where you can join, and then you'll find out what's out there, what's in the industry, what's coming.
You got a
The
write
next
up on
wave
the
is beverages.
NCIA website?
What's that?
Do you have a write up on the NCIA website?
Yeah, I
We
do.
got
I
an
have
equity spotlight,
an
yeah?
equity spotlight on the National Cannabis Industry Association's website, which talks a little more about my company, Antigen Botanical CBD, and a little bit more about me. And if there's anything I can do for anybody, I'm on LinkedIn, Dr. Adrian Adams.
Well, you know where to find me. All platforms is at LaTosque, LATOSQUE. This has been a really great interview with Dr. Adrian Adams out of New York. Very insightful and very educational. Thank you for coming on, hopping and sharing about your knowledge. I just got one of the best massages ever from Angela. Angela, say hello again. Lazy Bee Spa massages and facials.
So you got the mental and the physical work tonight.
Yeah, man. Yeah, man. This is absolute 100% recommended. I might have to do more. You know what? Next guest I have, we might have to get a massage together, and we just do the interview while
There you
getting
go.
massages.
Put the mic right in between the chairs.
Yeah, we won't even smoke during the interview. We'll actually go in the actual spa and record from there. Man. This was a great time. I'm glad you were able to hop on, Doc. Thanks for coming out and talking to the people and talking about cannabis, CBD, and your company. Um, uh, this is beautiful. Ladies and gentlemen, I love y'all, man. Thanks for tuning in to another episode of Cannabis and Coffee. We about to get out of here.
All right. Great to speak with you, everybody.